Well, welcome everybody back to From the Tailgate, and we are blessed and honored to have Tim Hicks here with us today. He's going to talk to us a little bit about his desires for recovery and the state's desires for recovery, and how 180 fits into those things, as well as programs like it. And Tim, if you could start out and just maybe introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm state representative for the 6th District of Washington County. It's an honor and a privilege to serve the folks, and you know, one of the main reasons that I ran for office, and one of my main goals, I think, in the State House, is to make people aware of addiction and recovery. I think it's so important. I think it's a big issue that we have. I think it touches so many aspects of people's lives, our families. It affects young children. It affects education. It affects the workforce. So there's just so many different things that that addiction, you know, touches, and I wanted to sort of be a part and a voice. You know, we thank 180 Ministries for what they're doing, and the ministries across East Tennessee, but it's proven we have to do more. So we need to do more for these folks.
Absolutely. And, you know, one of the battles that I'm sure you're fighting over there at the state capitol is programs like ours, which is more of a holistic approach. You know, we take men from prison and from rehab, and we get them into sober living. We feed into them spiritually, and then we also use the construction industry, which you're involved in, to teach them a trade that they can take with them for the rest of their life. And then, of course, the other side is MAT, medically assisted treatment, which is Suboxone, methadone, whatever. You know, which side do you fall on, and really, how do you see that going in the future?
Well, I believe in faith-based programs. I believe in life-changing experiences. I think that, you know, if you truly want to recover, it's more than recovering from addiction. You know, you've had issues in your life that has caused you to be an addict. And I believe that until you really get down deep into those issues, you never really recover. I think that the Lord can do many things in a person's life if we just give to Him. And I think, you know, that's the way that I see recovery. That's the way I've been clean and sober now for a little over 19 years. And, you know, I changed people, places, and things. The Lord blessed me. I gave my life to Him, and it was a very important day. and let me tell you something. You know, a job has everything to do with recovery.
Amen.
Some people doesn't look at it that way, but a job is so important. It's such a blessing to be able to go out and do something during the day to where you can stand back at the end of the day and see what you've accomplished, see what you've done, and it makes you feel better about yourself. And that's truly what recovery is all about. And the plus is that at night you get to sleep very well. So I think that's important.
I agree totally. And, you know, you touched on 19 years sober. I've got 9 years sober. Both of us came to sobriety through knowing Christ. And, you know, that's one of the things that's amazed me as I look back is I noticed that all the way through my addiction, all the way through my life up until that point, it was not necessarily addiction. It was just a separation from God that kept me separated from my purpose. And look at the purpose that God has put on you, you know, state representative, the purpose He's put on me as a pastor. And, you know, that's what we try to feed into these young men. You know, when you put a purpose before a man, it is truly powerful.
It is.
It's truly powerful. And so what does the future look like? I mean, do you think this is going to be a big battle? Is this going to be something that we talk about? Because we discussed this a little bit earlier, you know. A lot of people just don't talk about addiction and recovery.
I think in the state of Tennessee and in Nashville, God has a plan. I always believe that, and I think that He puts people in places at the right time, and He has perfect timing. And I truly believe that with COVID, with overdose being as high as it is, up some places 50% higher than it was in 2019, I believe it will be a very big conversation coming up in the next couple of years. I know that I'm on education committee, and I know that there's finally a lot of talk about how addiction is affecting our kids, especially those coming into kindergarten. And we talk a lot about third grade reading, and they're starting to see how much the family setting and addiction has to do with that. So I believe in God's timing that in the state of Tennessee, we're at a crossroads, and we are getting ready to really have a lot of conversation about addiction and how to recover. You know, how recovery, what it should look like. If a lot of these MAT treatments are working, then why is addiction getting worse? That's what I want to know. So I'm looking forward. I'm looking very forward to January coming into a new session and talking about this.
I mean, I don't want to poke the bear, but you know, the MAT drug that I used was Suboxone. I mean, it's harder to come off of than heroin. And I mean, not to mention it was expensive. And I mean, it was basically trading one addiction for another. And I appreciate your stance. I appreciate your intestinal fortitude for being able to stand up against Big Pharma and everyone else, because we know that that's where the push is coming from. And also, I just appreciate your faith, and I appreciate your desire to see people get well. What can we do to help you get this message out?
Just keep up the good work. Things like what we're doing right here today, conversation. I think you're going to hear a lot of conversation, especially in the next 6 months. You know, there's a opioid right now going on where they're settling with the pharmaceutical companies. I think Washington County, you know, our Northeast county commissions are going to be making decisions on what to do with that settlement. So you're going to hear a lot of conversation over the next 6 months about addiction, and it's our job to get our voice out and be heard. And I think that's exactly what we need to do, and I think it's going to happen. I think that certain treatment programs are just not proven right now. So I put my faith in God, and I put faith in the Lord, and I put faith in His people. You know,
Amen.
And it's a blessing to you know, part of recovery is you just have to get around good people. You have to make that change and get around good people, and that's sort of what I did, and He's blessed me for it. So you know, he can help us in many ways of our lives, and he could sure use a job to help a lot of folks out of a fix.
Absolutely. And you know, we thank you for the jobs that you provide. We thank you for the fights that you're fighting, and we're going to support you every way that we can. We pray that we can count on your support. And is there anything that you'd like to leave with the people today?
I hate that I couldn't be at the fundraiser, but you know, the General Assembly has decided to call a special session, and we're going to go to work and try to make Tennessee even a better place to live. So I think that's important right now.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. We love you,
Scott,
and we appreciate you. And you know, guys, that's what it's about. It's going to take an entire community. We can't just separate and say, okay, well, we can do it alone. We need people up in Nashville fighting for us and fighting for the biblical Judeo-Christian values that we hold true, and Tim is one of those men. So we thank you for your support, and we pray success in the future for you. God bless.
Thank you, Pastor Scott.
We'll talk to you soon.